Okay, well, it looks like we got another nice day, and I'd like to welcome everyone here. We do have some good guest speakers coming up again. The flies are a little bit of a nuisance, I might say, although not they are a little bit worse than last year. We were lucky last year here. So we were really blessed having another great day. At least it's short sleeve shirts and the snow's gone. So anyways, I don't know if some people do happen to have some flyers here. And I'm just going to introduce welcoming by Veronica Salaberry, President of Northumberland Labour Council. Go ahead.
Oh, hello everyone. So I will start saying that every year thousands of Canadians are killed or injured on the jobs and or die from a work-related disease. Yet this is something few of us think about when we mark our ballots every year. This year, Canadians will have the opportunity to elect a new federal government. Let's make sure that the people we vote for it will go to Parliament and ensure the next government will properly enforce health and safety laws, including the criminal code when it's necessary. In 2013, more than 900 workers died because of something that had happened to them at work. That was reported, but we know the real numbers are also higher. 100 more die from underreported illness and occupational diseases that will go unrecognized by unfair government compensation rules and simply aren't reported because workers can afford to take the time off. Workers in Canada today are 4 times more likely to die because of something that has happened to them at the work than to being murdered. Yet, many of the men and women we elect to represent us in 2011, who claim to be tough on crimes, aren't so tough with employers and companies responsible for workers' injuries or deaths. In fact, many of them have supported new laws that take away a long-standing health and safety rights from working people. This year, we can change things by electing a new government and by making sure that the people we vote are committed to improving workers and workplace health and safety. So just don't more for the death, just start fighting for the living. Thank you.
Thanks, Veronica. Now I'm going to call up Deputy Mayor Henderson from the town of Cobourg, and I just want to say that both the town of Cobourg as well as the municipality of Port Hope were very progressive in the action taking the resolution presenting to both councils last year that basically kill a worker, go to jail campaign that we were running from the Northumberland Labour Council. So I just want to say thank you for that. I'll call Deputy Mayor Henderson to come forward from the town of Cobourg.
Anyway, good afternoon. First of all, I'd like to bring greetings from Mayor Brockeneer, who unfortunately couldn't be here. That's rare because if you know his track record, he's pretty much here every past year as long as I can remember. So I'd certainly like to bring greetings on behalf of the Town of Cobourg Council, directors and senior staff, and also all the workers. We too have workers both in QP. We also have non-union staff, but more importantly, they're workers. And they're very much like you and the organizations that you represent. You all do different facets. You go to work every day with great intent, but the message is you also want to go home at night to your families and to enjoy the quality of life of why you're working each and every day. I was interested, so I pulled up the stats, and I'm pleased to see that Canada is improving in its health and safety records. However, I also noticed there's still 2.5 lives lost each day, and I was stunned by that. It's not weekly or monthly or yearly, it's each day. So without question, that means families are affected, friends are affected, and I learned you're just not affected the day it happens. You're affected lifetime, and that is profound. So I'm pleased to dress up today. I want to do this because to me it is a day of mourning, but hopefully it's also a day of celebration, because when we learn when someone passes, whether it's through that injury or illness, we have to celebrate what that person or person stood for. So I'm pleased to be here and to be part of this. I wish I could say we had solutions for you, but I'd like to compliment certainly the organizations, including the town of Coburg, who take health and safety seriously. We're continually, through our JERC committee, looking what the town can do to improve their standards, their health programs, their safety programs. I can only applaud those organizations who continue to do that. So when you go to work tomorrow, I hope at the end of the day you return home. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, for those kind words. Just a little bit too, I should have explained for anybody that's new coming to the ceremony that each cross represents actually 1,000 workers, and the day of mourning came into effect in 1991, so hence you can see there's since the time 24,000 people that have been confirmed by the worker compensation boards across Canada. So it's quite moving just to look at the crosses and reflect upon that. Next up is Cecil Mackesy. Cecil is a staff representative with the Workers' Health and Safety Center. I know we do have a couple instructors out here. I know Doug Lloyd's there, he's done it before, and Kelly Walker, myself, and very proud of giving that information to the workers that we can represent.
Thanks very much, Chris. I know most of the folks here in the audience, but for those that don't know me, I am a provincial staff rep with the Workers' Health and Safety Center, and I look after a geographic area covering from downtown Toronto to just a little bit south of Algonquin Park, out to almost Kingston. And my job is to work with unions, work with non-unions, workplaces, management, and union or non-union workplaces to set up health and safety training. The other thing that we do is that we look to work with joint health and safety committees to aid them to help resolve problems in the workplace, to help find ways or corrective actions, or find ways to eliminate hazards in the workplace. We have over 120 different training courses that can be run on any given day, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. And if anybody'd like my card, I'd be more than happy to pass that on to you. Now, normally, the guest speakers and so forth, a lot of us will get up and speak about stats. What I want to talk about today is not so much stats, but a personal stat. I started my working career in a real way a little bit over 34 years ago, and I worked in a large multinational, for a large multinational company, spray painting, and I spray painted vehicles day in, day out, 8-hour shifts, sometimes 12-hour shifts, depending on what was going on. And back in those days, there was no occupational health and safety law, no safety standards, no nothing. Now, one of the things that in our courses that people learn about is latency. And latency, when you're 20 years old, working in a place, is not something you really give a whole lot of thought to. It's like retirement. You know, when you're 20, first coming into a workplace, you don't think about what you're working with is going to cause you a problem. But I see we get some young children down here that will be entering the workplace. There are some young workers in here going into workplaces for the first time. And what I want to talk about is the fact that you need to be aware. Just because in the province of Ontario, in this lovely country of Canada, that we have health and safety legislation in place, that doesn't mean you're protected. And I'll give you an example. 30 years ago, I'm working in that workplace, and I'm doing my job day in and day out. Later on down the road, yes, we did get occupational health and safety legislation in place. This summer, latency come back to bite me. The chemicals that I was working with in the workplace come back, I end up with cancer in the summer. Again, 2 months ago, again return. And you know something? I'm unfortunate in the fact that the cancer that I got, I don't really feel pain. I got to keep on going in and getting cut out of me, and to keep hacking pieces out of me one at a time. What does hurt is the fact I got 3 kids, never been able to see them get married yet, never been able to see a grandchild. I don't know if that day is coming for me. The people who we've elected time and time again, and like Chris just said, we've had the day of mourning in place for how many years? We're killing over 800, not we're. The workplaces are killing and that's actual kills on the job. Not all the people getting sick and dying from cancers and other diseases from their exposures in the workplace, which translates into thousands of people every year are dying. Who's responsible? Us. In the sense, we keep on electing people to government who are supposed to be protecting us and they're not. And it's about high time we step up to the plate and say enough is enough. The carnage has to stop. We can't continue to keep on adding more crosses year after year. And these birds that are elected to protect us and aren't doing it. So my only message this year is enough's enough. Let's start electing people that are actually going to protect us. Thank you.
Thank you, Cecil, for those words. We're going to have a little bit of a song play here, and I did put in the agenda that Stacey Doherty and Steve Francis were really lucky to have him back, both guys back again today. They're both steel workers out of USW Local 13173. It's a pleasure to have them here again. Filling in with any karaoke in between, so not a chance.
The song's called Algonquin Blackwater. We released it, I guess, in December now. It's doing really well. iTunes, Google Play, whatnot. So it is available there. It's about a former co-worker, I guess still co-worker friend. Used to go into Algonquin Park and always said we'd write a song about him. He's off with on long-term disability now, degenerative back issues. So it kind of fills in with what today's all about. So it's Algonquin Blackwater. Going in his younger years, always wished it would be his life. Memories back to when he was a child, sleeping under star-filled skies. Morning sky, she makes a big man feel alive. Across the waters of Lafayette, solitude pristine, see a tear in his eyes. Algonquin Blackwater finds you. Later years take the bitter toll. He pays the price, longs each night to get back to his sacred place. Made the last trip, tears turn to eyes. Algonquin Blackwater pines for you. Come and gone. Now dark winds running through his veins. The swanest memories of this you've on to know.
just fantastic. Thanks, you guys. Don't forget, as Stacy said there, the song's on iTunes. I believe it's 99 cents, isn't it, Stacy?
Yeah.
Yeah, so 99 cents is a good buy, you know. Good buy. Support your local artist. Okay, which brings us to our keynote speaker, Vern Edwards. He's the director of the Health Safety Department for the Ontario Federation of Labour. So, Vern, if you could come forward there, please.
Hello, everybody. I bring greetings on behalf of our officers and executive board at the Ontario Federation of Labour, many of whom are out around the province today at similar ceremonies. I think Sid's going to 4 today, so he's been pretty busy. Today, thousands of workers, friends and families of those killed and injured on the job are gathering at ceremonies across Ontario and across Canada to commemorate the labour movement's most solemn occasion, the annual day of mourning for workers killed and injured. They are hearing speakers repeat our motto, mourn for the dead, fight for the living. This National Day of Mourning remembers and pays tribute to the 1,000 Canadian workers who are killed each year due to workplace causes. This day was a Canadian initiative and is now recognized and observed in more than 100 countries around the world, from Azerbaijan to Zambia. A day of mourning is now truly a global event. Despite the day of mourning being first officially recognized 30 years ago, workers' deaths go largely unnoticed in Canada, except by surviving family members, friends, and colleagues who are left to mourn the loss of a loved one. And just last Friday, the WSIB released a revised set of death and injury statistics, dating back 10 years, that we found underreported workplace fatalities by an average of 128 per year over 10 years. Prior to 2013, the WSIB provided us with death and injury statistics in a consistent manner through a monthly monitor report. I used that report to produce a fact sheet called Why We Need a Day of Mourning. And those reports demonstrated that between 2004 and 2012, a total of 3,375 workers had died in this province due to occupational disease or traumatic on-the-job accidents. However, the WSIB decides to change their data reporting practices in 2013 and have now issued new statistics this year, claiming that only 2,225 workers had died over that same 9-year period. We tried to get them to give us an answer on how that could be. The WSIB has brushed off the change as nothing more than data maturity and changing definitions. I don't know how the board changes the definition of dead. Despite repeated requests for an explanation, the board has just failed to justify how and why 1,150 fallen workers who had been counted in every previous WSIB report are now suddenly no longer accounted for. Unnoticed and now unrecorded. The families of these deceased workers deserve better. We at the OFL are going to continue to hound the WSIB until we get a clear answer as to what is going on. The WSIB needs to be accountable and transparent. Our experience is that it is neither. Unions continue to fight for the living by working to hold employers accountable for health and safety at work. We lobby the government for better legislation to strengthen protections in the workplace and give workers a stronger voice in the workplace. Unions lobby for stronger enforcement and penalties for negligent employers. Unions, led by the USW, fought for and won changes to the Canadian Criminal Code through Bill C-45, also known as the Westray Bill. That was to hold employers who are criminally negligent, hold them accountable for killing and maiming workers. We are now in a struggle to see those changes actually enforced. In the 11 years since the changes came into effect, there has only been a handful of prosecutions and just 3 convictions. 2 were in Quebec and one here in Ontario against Metron Constructions, whose negligence resulted in 4 construction workers falling to their deaths, and a 5th was severely disabled. In one of those cases in Quebec, there was in fact a jail sentence, but that was served in the community. In the Metron case, no one went to jail, but the company received the highest fine in Canadian history for a workplace death under the criminal code. The project manager was also charged with criminal negligence under the code. His trial has now wrapped up and a verdict is scheduled for June 26. Many politicians claim to be tough on crime, but are soft on having criminally negligent corporations held responsible for the injuries and deaths of workers. Justice is not being served. An employer in Niagara Region pled guilty in 2013 to willfully violating the federal health and safety legislation that resulted in the death of a worker. No criminal charges were ever laid. Late last year, the OFL released a report that exposed the fact that the WSIB is providing rebates in the amount of millions of dollars each year to companies that have in fact been found guilty of health and safety offenses that resulted in employees being killed in workplace accidents. And there is a need for new and improved health and safety regulations in a number of areas, but most urgently, we need the enforcement of existing laws, including the criminal code amendments. Between 70 and 80 workers in Ontario die horrible and traumatic accidents each year. Many more die a slow, agonizing death from occupational diseases. Approximately 800 workers have been killed on the job since the criminal code was amended, and to date only 1 criminal conviction in which no one went to jail here in Ontario. That says a lot about how deaths in the workplace are viewed. Every worker who was killed at work deserves to have their death investigated through the lens of Bill C-45. Their family deserves to know that the police have done more than just ruled out foul play, that they have looked at criminal negligence by the employer as a possible cause. For this to happen, the investigators on our police forces need training on the C-45 amendments and the skills to investigate these corporate crimes. Our Crown prosecutors also need the training to successfully prosecute these cases. Only when the CEOs start going to jail for killing and maiming workers will we see the shift in priorities that needs to happen to stop the carnage in our workplace. And this has been the motivation for our Kill a Worker, Go to Jail campaign. April 28th allows all Canadians and people throughout the world to pay respect to those working people who have died or suffered injuries and diseases on the job. While we mourn the dead, labor and all people must rededicate themselves to fight for the living and prevent this terrible and unnecessary toll in our workplaces. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Edwards. Now I'll call up Dr. Ron Kidd, minister of St. Peter's Church, to do the invocation, please.
Thank you. Please join me in prayer. Almighty God, we know that your love and concern reach to us all, but we stand before you with heavy hearts. We remember the many who have died this year while at work, and among the most recent, William Sequeira, who lost his life last week in Toronto. There is danger to life, limb, and long-term health in the jobs so many have. Comfort those who mourn. Bless those being treated for injuries and job-related illness. And deepen the sense of responsibility among those who shape and control the conditions in which others work. We ask all this so that the numbers of cases of time loss, injury, and death will continually be reduced, and so that people will be able to go about their work with a sense of safety and security. And we ask through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Now come to the segment of the ceremony. Those that do have wreaths, to please come forward. The two brothers are going to sing Amazing Grace during that time. So just gather yourselves, those who have a wreath, to please come forward and lay the wreath. I think Ron Davis, if you can see it, the wreath's over there by the tree, ours. Okay, thank you.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wench like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. The heart that sealed your fate. I first believed how precious grace did first appear. The hour I believe
Thanks, Stacy and Steve. It's always a touching song, and it's so instrumental at this part of the program. Well, we're coming to the actual closing remarks. I asked that the executive come forward here, and I know Kelly Walker is somewhere in the backfield there, I would call it. And I want to say that I also thank the Northumberland View. It's actually going to be on the website of Northumberland View, this ceremony, so if you want to pick it up and send an email, attach it, NorthumberlandView.ca. And we actually have our website as a council, NorthumberlandLaborCouncil.ca, and which is maintained, and we have monthly meetings. There is any labor people out there that want to talk afterwards, I'll be over by the table. Sorry? Oh, sorry. I just got corrected. Always a woman is correcting me, so I know my wife is here and she's quite often correcting me. So it's NorthumberlandLaborCouncil.com. I apologize. So, and the other one is NorthumberlandView.ca. So I thank them for videotaping this and having it present on the website. So there is some refreshments, light refreshments here afterwards. I invite you to stand around, shoot the breeze. Some of those conversations can always lead to maybe you're seeking help in your workplaces for some issue you may have. Anyways, I just want to say thanks and thank you, and thanks everyone here for coming out and our guest speakers. It was fantastic. And the brothers are just going to close it off with a couple songs, I guess, until they're tired of playing. Stand around, mill around, and thank you for coming out.